Hello everyone. So today let us talk about indexing. Now I often encounter this problem where users complain about their dashboards showing incorrect numbers, incorrect data, and basically this can happen due to multiple reasons. So whenever someone reaches out to me, like I'm talking about, of course, my client. They tell me that Ravi, we have written a JQL and JQL is not returning the correct number of issues, and of course when we encounter these things, we first try to understand if the JQL is itself is correct. I mean, correct in a sense that maybe someone has written a JQL that should be returning that is probably correct, and they think that maybe the number of issues that their query should return should be more. Now, if the query itself is correct based on the requirement, then of course we try to understand if the same query was working or returning different number or a lot of issues in the past. For example, if let us say your teams have built some dashboard, and the dashboard was showing data based on, let us say, 1,000 something issues or maybe 100 something issues, but all of a sudden next day you have a dashboard which is showing only 5 issues or 10 issues, right? So in that case, most likely the JQL itself is not really a problem. The problem is often due to indexing. Now, in this case, there are a couple of things that you can do, and I will talk about what all things you can try. Now, the first thing that you should do is, if let us say there is a JQL, let us not worry about the JQL because it could be any JQL. Let us say if you have a JQL like assignee is equal to some user, right? And when you run this JQL, it is now returning how many issues? 26 issues. But if you think, or if your client is saying that it was returning 2,000 issues yesterday, then of course they're right. Probably they're right. It is not really the JQL, and of course I'm talking about a simple query, but it could be a complex query. So we of course try to figure out if the JQL itself is correct based on the requirement. But when it comes to the incorrect number and this sudden change, we try to first understand if there is a problem with the index. And to do this, the first thing that I do, or I would do, is I would go to the Jira admin section and then take a look at so there is a page which I will show you, like troubleshooting and support. So go to this page and take a look at any error related to index. For example, if I open my Jira instance, it says that okay, there is some problem with the JVM, which is fine, but this page will, or it might tell you something about index. Sometimes if your server where Jira is hosted, maybe there is no space, or maybe the index itself is not really able to rebuild itself properly. So you might get some indication here, right? So this is number one that I do straight away. Then you can try to maybe run this log analyzer, right? So to understand if there are some errors reported by Jira, because Jira, when there is something wrong with Jira, it might throw some errors into your log, and you can try to run this. It might give you some indication because because you should try it before you raise a ticket for Atlassian, because Atlassian will ask you to send them the support zip. They might also suggest the same thing, because if you send them a support zip, they will of course look at the log. And you can also then take a look at what else. So you can also try the integrity checker. So sometimes this integrity checker might fail. I mean, it often fails, to be honest. I don't know why. So in this case, there is nothing wrong, but sometimes there could be some. I mean, so you can see that there is something wrong. So you can see here that it says check the permissions are not duplicated. So just try to fix it. Don't worry too much about this this integrity checker fails, because this might sometimes solve, but not always. I mean, this is usually not really the solution, but I'm just trying to give you some idea. And if you go back to your troubleshooting and support tools, then this log analyzer, you should keep it running for some time. And you can also try to schedule like do it on a regular basis and enable this to send you an email. So this is something that you can do. But if you don't really have anything here in the instance health related to index, then go to your project and then click on or basically go to your project settings and then try to reindex the project. So yes, you can do that. You can reindex your project. And by the way, I'm making this video on Jira Data Center, so not on cloud. So go to your Jira project settings and then go to reindex project. And we are doing this reindex for only this specific project. So if you have some user complaining about SSP project, query not working, go to that project and do our index. And it might, as compared to other, so this may not solve all the problem always, but in most cases it can. And I've seen this. For example, maybe you have like a lot of scripted fields, or due to some reason, maybe your project reindex is not really working properly, and doing this can sometimes, not always, but can sometimes solve the problem. Then the next thing that you can try, and only do that during or outside business hours, go to your indexing and try background reindex. So when you run a background reindex, your Jira instance it will definitely get slow, and it will of course try to fix. It can try to fix those issues that you are facing. So if you are running this background reindexing, then as compared to project index, it can also sometimes solve the problem. But I've seen from my experience, sometimes you have to perform full reindex, unfortunately. And even if you raise a ticket for Atlassian to troubleshoot this, they will also say the same thing. Please perform a full reindex. And when you perform background reindex, it can take several hours depending upon how big your Jira instance is. Sometimes it can take 6 hours. Usually it takes a lot of time, and it will also make your Jira instance slow. So that is why I do it outside business hours. If you have a Jira instance which is always being used, then of course it's a problem. Then of course even your background reindex should be done on a weekend, of course to avoid people shouting at you. And if you're not really able to figure out or fix the problem, then of course do a full reindex, and only do it on a weekend, and also announce it to your users. And this is something that you will have to do eventually. So when you do a full reindex, then your Jira instance will be down, and you have to notify your users that Jira is down, and your users will not be able to access or do anything with your Jira instance. They will get a message. So right now, because my Jira instance is local and it is very small, it has finished in 3 seconds, but it can take, as compared to background reindex, if let us say your background reindex takes 5 hours, then your full reindex can finish in 30 minutes, right? So it is comparatively much faster. And yeah, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about. And of course, we are talking about this specific use case where your JQL is not returning the correct number of issues, and that is usually due to indexing problems. But of course, indexing can also fix other problems. And when something goes wrong in Jira, and if you are not really sure, or if you have done some research, if you have looked in the log files, you have done some search online, you will get some ideas on community or other resources like my resources, of course. And if you get some because when you raise a ticket for Atlassian, they will also give you some idea, or they will also give you or ask you to try full reindex. So of course you can try it. But of course, if you have Jira system admin rights, don't click on full reindex, because you might lose your job if you do it during business hours, right? Without, of course, notifying your user. Sometimes we have to actually perform full reindex during business hours, because there is no fix. Sometimes it has to be done, and of course, when you're on multi-node architecture, then things are different. But I'm talking about, let us say, if your Jira instance is just on one node. All right. I hope this video was useful and you learned something new. Thank you very much. Bye bye.